Hey, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Erika Bell. I'm a home organizer, and here are 6 things that are going to ruin your organized home. You did it. You got organized, okay? But you want to stay away from these pitfalls, right? Make sure that you don't fall into any of these traps. All right. Number 1 is not having systems that work with your family. Okay. So maybe you're just not leaning into their natural way of doing things. So I've talked about this before. If you've seen some of my other videos, if not, I'll link some. Sometimes we have an idea of what we want our home to be like when we organize it. Maybe we saw a picture in a magazine. We saw a friend organize their home. We saw something on social media and we thought, yes, this is what I want. I want this in my life. I want this in my home. But then we're not really thinking about its practicality, right? We're not thinking about it in a practical manner in relation to our family. Okay. So maybe you decide that all your kids' shoes are going to go in this nice, neat shoe organizer, each in their own room. You got them each their own for their own room. But then you find that when you walk in your house, you just kick off your shoes and they're not wanting to pick their shoes up and take them to their rooms, right? So instead of saying, no, you have to do this, you need to change how you're naturally flowing to fit into this system. It's usually better to change your system to how you're flowing, right? So if you naturally kick off your shoes in the same place each time you enter your home, let's make an organizing system around that. We put a bin, maybe you put one of those nice organizers that, you placed in their room, maybe you put it in there, something like that, to where you're leaning into those systems, not fighting against it. Because if you're fighting against it, it's probably not going to last anyways. Your organizing is just going to go out the door, right? Number 2, this kind of falls on the same lines, but not having everyone on the same page. So maybe you did all of these beautiful organizing systems, but then you don't inform your roommates or your partner or your kids, or you have someone that's not on the same page. They don't want to follow those things. It's probably not going to work. So we need to figure out where we're finding that resistance and then work towards kind of a common ground, a common area. So it's not uncommon for me to have clients who they're really into the system and the organizing and the whole process, and maybe their spouse is not, or their kids are not. So where can we find that common ground? How can we compromise and still live an organized life if that's what we're after here, but still not, fight with other people in our house, right? So getting everyone on the same page, getting to the root of maybe why they don't like the system or why they don't want to get organized, figuring that out, and then seeing what we can do about it so that everyone does get on the same page. So for example, I have a client who their mother-in-law lives with them. She is very much a maximalist and the husband is very much a minimalist. So as you can see, that could cause some tension. So what they kind of decided is her room is her own. She can do whatever she wants with it, but common areas we have to kind of meet that common ground. Not to say that she can't put some things in like the living room, but we're probably not going to max it out like she made her room. So it's just that compromise. And again, getting everyone on the same page as best you can. If you have any questions or specific examples you need help with, as always, please ask me in the comments and I'm more than happy to help. Number 3, unrealistic expectations. This kind of can go back to even number 1 of like we see something and we want it, but it doesn't work. So we also could see something, I see all the time these gorgeous homes in magazines that were basically, they just made their house look like that for the photo shoot. They're not like that. And yet we envy it in our head. We're like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, I want that. Okay, well, that's probably not how their home looks all the time, right? If they have kids or pets or just any kind of roommate, it's not going to be pristine all the time, probably. Okay, that's just the reality of it. Now, you may have your specific places that you can keep pristine, and that's fine. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't set the bar high, have high expectations, have high things to accomplish. But again, you don't want to be driving yourself crazy by having those unrealistic goals or expectations. You just want to make sure that whatever kind of expectation you have is reasonable and realistic for you, your family, your home, all of that. Number 4, not reevaluating every few months. You will probably have to set a reminder in your phone or in your calendar, whatever you use, to kind of reevaluate these systems. If you have kids, they grow up, the toys they play with changes, the clothes that they're interested in changes. So you have to kind of go with the flow with that and reevaluate the systems that you have, your organizing structures and stuff like that, because your family changes and your structures are going to have to change too. Unfortunately, I have a lot of people that are like, I used to be organized, but then, so you have good reasoning, good bones to your organizing, but we don't often flow with it and reevaluate them over time, and they just get stale. They just get old. They no longer work. So we just have to be conscious and set those reminders to reevaluate that every so often. Unfortunately, it's not just one and done. Number 5 is not tidying. So again, it's not just you get organized and then everything stays organized. You have to keep up with the tidying and organizing process. Otherwise, we're just going to get back to that decluttered kind of chaos that we had to begin with, right? So keep up with your tidying. I've said it before, if it takes less than 2 minutes, go ahead and do that task so that it doesn't pile up. If it's a bill to pay, just go ahead and do it. If it's putting something away, go ahead and do it, because again, I say this all the time. I'm sorry if you're sick of it, but clutter is nothing but postponed decisions. So stay on top of those decisions and you will have less clutter. But just know that you're going to have to just have some kind of tidying routine. Here's a good video I'll link to that it's kind of the 2-time tidying rule. And I'll go into I go into a lot more detail on there, but basically you're tidying twice a day, nothing intense. It's before you leave your house for, your day, whether you're going to work or just leaving your home, and then before you go to bed. So that just helps keep up with it and keeps up with that maintenance and overall organization of your home. And last but not least, number 6 is just plain and simple having too much stuff. Now, if you've worked with me, I will never make you get rid of anything. That is not what I'm there to do. I'm not there to tell you to purge the things that you don't want to purge. However, we all have limited space, right? Our homes can only hold so much. Our closets can hold so much. Our, pantries can only hold so much. We only have as much space as we have. It's just plain and simple. So if you have too many things, it's going to be harder to stay organized, unfortunately. And again, hear me when I say this. I'm not saying that everyone needs to be a minimalist. I have a lot of people that say that to me. I'll come in their homes. They're like, well, I've never been a minimalist. I don't claim to be. I don't try to be. And I say, yeah, me neither. Like, I get that. I'm not asking anyone to be. However, we have to have control over our things and how much we have so that they don't control us and that we can organize them. What are some things that have ruined your organized home in the past? It's ruined your organizing systems besides just, kids or pets or whatever. Tell me, let me know in the comments. I always want to hear from you, and I will talk to you soon.